This is You've Already Been Hacked, recorded on 9 January 2021. This week, we have more Solarwinds because it seems to be the gift that keeps on giving as we start 2021. So, the attack with Solarwinds may have started earlier and is looking worse. More details about the SolarWinds supply chain attack are coming to light. It is now believed that at least 250 U.S. government agencies and private businesses were affected. Senator Mark Warner of Virginia, who serves as the vice chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, said that the attacks have begun earlier than March and April of 2020. Warner also noted that if FireEye had not come forward, I'm not sure we would be fully aware of the attack to this day. The SolarWinds attack, now widely believed perpetrated by the Russian government, was destroying the security of top American government agencies and tech companies for nearly a year. There were no explosions, no deaths, but this may be the Pearl Harbor of American IT. Russia, we now know, used SolarWinds to infiltrate at least 18,000 government and private networks. The data within these networks, user IDs, passwords, financial records, source code, you name it, can be presumed now to be in the hands of Russian intelligence agents. The Russians may have even acquired the crown jewels of Microsoft's software stack, Windows and Office. In a twist, which would be hilarious if it weren't so serious, Microsoft claims it's no big deal. Why does Microsoft claim it's no big deal? Well, they state they have an inner source approach. That is, the use of open source software development best practices and an open source-like culture to make source code viewable within Microsoft. Now, while this may be great from a corporate culture standpoint and help with innovation and ensure transparency and all that within the company, when hackers and not internal developers have access to the proprietary code, the door is open for attacks. Now, it's true, Microsoft's threat models assume that attackers have knowledge of the source code. So, viewing source code isn't tied to an elevation of risk. But making that assumption is one thing. Dealing with the reality of it may be another. Moving to a little bit of government impact, judiciary electronic records were possibly breached. The administration offices of the U.S. courts is adding new security procedures to protect highly sensitive, confidential documents filed with the courts, following a possible compromise of its case management and electronic case files, or the CM-ECF system. The judiciary is auditing the system along with the Department of Homeland Security. This breach may have jeopardized the privacy of countless sealed court documents on file with the U.S. federal court system, according to a memo released Wednesday. The administrative offices declined to comment on the specific questions about their breach disclosure, but a source close to the investigation told Kerberos Security that the federal court document system was, quote, hit hard by SolarWinds. The source said the intruders behind the SolarWinds compromise seeded the AO's network with a second-stage teardrop malware that went beyond the Sunburst malicious software update. That was opportunistic and pushed out to all of those 18,000 other networks that we've already talked about. This suggests the attackers were targeting the agency for deeper access to its networks and communication. Nicholas Weaver, a lecturer at the Computer Science Department at the University of California, Berkeley, has stated that the court document system doesn't hold documents that are classified for national security reasons, but he said the system is full of sensitive sealed filings, such as subpoenas for email records and so-called trap and trace requests that law enforcement officials use to determine with whom a suspect is communicating via phone, when, and for how long. This could end up being a treasure trove for the Russians, knowing about a lot of ongoing criminal investigations. If the FBI has indicted someone but hasn't arrested them yet, that's all under seal, and that could be in the records that have been taken. Some of the new procedures that the AO has put into place are highly sensitive court documents filed with federal courts will be accepted for filing in paper form or via a secure electronic device, such as a thumb drive, and stored in a secure standalone computer system. These sealed documents will not be uploaded to the ECF. AO stated, quote, "This new practice will not change current policies regarding public access to court records, since sealed records are confidential and not currently available to the public." With regard to everything else related to SolarWinds, CISA has issued updated guidance requiring agencies to conduct forensic analysis. The supplemental guidance is V3 and requires 1. Agencies that ran affected versions conduct forensic analysis. 2. Agencies that accept the risk of running SolarWinds Orion comply with certain hardening requirements. And 3. Reporting by agencies from department-level chief information officers is due back to CISA by the 19th of January and the 25th of January, depending on where they are in their programs. The analysis must look at system memory, host storage, and network and third-party environments such as cloud services. Agencies must also hunt for indicators of compromise or, quote, other evidence of threat actor activity, unquote, and create or update a CISA incident report accordingly. Those additional hardening requirements include either rebuilding the software infrastructure and resetting involved accounts or updating to the latest version. The guidance offers 12 specific conditions for operating SolarWinds software moving forward. Government agencies have verified that SolarWinds Release 2020.2.1HF2 on December 15th of 2020 addressed the attack, and these government agencies claim to see that it removes any traces of the Sunburst-related code from systems. CISA has also released a free tool for IT and security experts working on incident response, looking into SolarWinds for their companies and clients. The tool, a PowerShell script, helps detect possible compromised accounts and applications in Azure or Microsoft 365 environments. CrowdStrike has also released a tool similar to the one released by CISA. The name of that tool is CRT. The tool can help identify accounts with extensive access permissions inside an Azure Active Directory and Office 365 corporate network. Both the CISA and CrowdStrike tools are useful for spotting accounts with extensive permissions that are not under an administrator's control. Okay, let's move on. A fired healthcare worker executive sentenced to prison for sabotaging PPE distribution. A former employee of Georgia-based Stratus Healthcare has pleaded guilty to computer intrusion for tampering with the company's computer systems. Christopher Dobbins used a secret account he had created to gain access to the Stratus network when he altered and deleted data, hobbling the company's efforts to distribute personal protective equipment in spring 2020. Dobbins has been sentenced to 1 year in prison. Turning back the clock, last March, as doctors reported having to ration and reuse PPE to treat COVID-19 patients, Stratus, which packages and ships PPE and surgical kits, was eager to step up and help, according to the FBI. Quote, "It was both a chance for the company to contribute to the national response and a business opportunity," unquote. But several weeks earlier, Stratus had fired Dobbins from his job there as vice president. Although the company revoked his credentials, Dobbins maintained a secret account, which still allowed him to access the company's shipping data, according to the FBI. This is a classic insider threat attack, and Dobbins used that retained access to tamper with shipping data, temporarily halting the company's efforts to distribute the life-saving medical equipment. Now, insider threat is one thing that I teach in my cybersecurity risk management class, and this incident highlights the risk of insider threats like disgruntled former employees. And the threat they can pose to any organization. But it is IT users with the most privileged access, such as vice presidents in the IT portion of the business, who pose the biggest security threat. Cybersecurity experts state that insider threats of all types are on the rise, and those numbers are expected to jump even higher in 2021. Currently, about 25% of data breaches are tied to insider threats, and researchers said they expect that number to jump by a staggering 33% this year, driven by staff churn and remote work. Nissan's source code has been possibly exposed. Source code from Nissan North America's mobile apps and diagnostic tools may have been exposed due to an improperly configured Git server. Nissan says it has secured the server. A complete dump of all the Git repositories from Nissan North America most notably includes sources for their mobile app, some parts of the Assists diagnostic tool, the dealer business system, and dealer portal. And finally, T-Mobile discloses its fourth breach in 3 years. T-Mobile has disclosed a data breach that exposed some customers' call-related information. This is the fourth breach T-Mobile has acknowledged in the past 3 years. T-Mobile did not provide specifics about the attack, except to say its, quote, cybersecurity team recently discovered and shut down malicious, unauthorized access to some customer proprietary network information. The wireless telecommunication firm said in a notice mailed to some customers in late December that the incident may have included phone number, number of lines subscribed to on the account, and in some cases call-related information collected as part of normal operation of your wireless service. This is the fourth data breach that the company has acknowledged within the last 3 years. T-Mobile, which completed a merger with Sprint in April of 2020, also disclosed incidents that occurred in March of 2020 and November 2019 and August 2018. The company called the intrusions malicious unauthorized access, but did not release details about the suspected intruders or their methods. Personally identifiable information was not affected in the latest breach, according to T-Mobile. Quote, the data accessed did not include names on the account, physical or email addresses, financial data, credit card information, social security numbers, tax ID, passwords, or PINs. The company said, adding that it had contacted cybersecurity experts and federal law enforcement about the breach. A notice was also posted on the company's website, and a spokesman told the news firm TechCrunch that the breach happened in early December and affected about 0.2% of T-Mobile's customers. That equates to approximately 200,000 people. That's all for the news this week. I'm your professor of cyber risk. We'll talk again soon. If you like this podcast, share it with your colleagues and friends. Your support is how we are able to continue to grow and provide this content. Thank you.